What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 30 to Life. I'm Uso Ron, and today we got a special guest with us. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Uso?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bell Taulua, but they call me Pineapple. I'm from Victoria Park. That's a gang, Mexican gang from out there in Carson area. We're like maybe 15 minutes away from LA, or deep in LA, but it's in LA County.
Okay.
We're close, like the areas around there is Compton, Wilmington, Gardena, Torrance, so those are the cities next to us.
Okay.
Carson.
Okay. Was there a big community of Samoans in that area?
Oh yeah, growing up in Carson, Samoan community was pretty deep. That's where, for some reason, all of our folks from down Samoa, Hawaii, that was coming out this way, migrated to Carson. That was probably the where they all was at in probably in the 70s when they started coming out. I was still a youngster, but I remember Carson was one of the communities that was pretty deep with Samoans, and then from Carson, it scattered out to Long Beach and Compton, all the way down to Santa Ana, But there, in Carson, there's a lot of everything. There's a lot of Samoans, blacks, whites, Mexicans, Filipinos, Asians. We all got along, which was cool, which is the thing I love about Carson.
Out there where you were at, was there a lot of Mexican gangs? I mean, was there any Islander gangs out there as well?
Yeah, well, back in the 70s when I started banging, there was some blood gangs that already was starting to come out in Carson. SOS was starting out in the 70s, probably in the mid 70s, about 75, 74. Park Village was already on the map. They started banging about in the early 70s, so yeah, there was Samoan gangs around that area. And there's also a lot of Mexican gangs. But the thing was with me, I learned early on that if I was banging and I was banging against my own people, there was going to be some consequences with with your parents. That's one thing you always have to worry about. You're banging, pretty much against family. You always related to somebody in that gang, and if something happens to that, whoever you're banging with, it's going to come back to you. And by the time you get home, his mom and dad, uncles and aunts might be at the house with my mom and dad, and they're going to make you sit in that living room and, either get the ass whipping from them or they're going to scold you.
So, is it typical in that area for a Samoan to join a Mexican gang, or, was this a personal choice for yourself?
Well, it was a personal choice for me because I grew up in that neighborhood.
Right.
And I just felt like not only because, joining the Samoan gang, it was a possibility of me banging with my own cousin or something, relative. In my neighborhood, that's where I grew up at, so I had to represent that. But it wasn't no big deal. It's pretty much you're a project of your environment. If I grew up with the Crips in that neighborhood, I probably would have been a Crip. If I would have grew up with the Bloods in that neighborhood, I probably would have been a Blood. But since I grew up with the Mexicans, I rolled with it.
Right, right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We all are products of our environment. So, you got involved with the gang life and everything. I assume you started getting into a lot of trouble. Did you have any experience with juvenile halls or CYA or anything like that?
I managed to get away from all that. I was a little bit slicker than the average youngster. It's just by luck. It wasn't nothing I did to, get away from the man, because I didn't have that type of talent. If I was that good, I would have been an NFL running back or something. But I started getting in trouble about 14 or 15. I was in junior high. I started smoking weed, drinking, and I didn't get into the gang thing until I was about 10th grade. That's when I started hanging out with dudes I grew up with in the neighborhood.
So I know that it was an environmental thing, where you grew up and everything, but getting a little deeper, uh, did you experience maybe some bullying or anything like that, being that you were Samoan or anything, being in a predominantly Mexican neighborhood? Or did you just, were you fascinated with the gang life? Because I always ask people, what really got pushed you into there, because some people say, hey, I was having problems at home. I just wasn't close with my family, things like that. So I felt more unity, in the gang. How about yourself? What was your main reason for joining, or was it just the environmental thing?
Well, for me, it was growing up in a strict family. My mom and dad was really strict on, church. It was mandatory for us to go to church growing up. For hours was a big thing at the house. And I grew up in a Seventh-day Adventist church. So the Seventh-day Adventist church, they don't do too much of anything when it comes to the Sabbath day. And the Sabbath day was Friday nights to Saturday morning. I mean, Saturday nights. You had to keep that time holy. But I was real good at sports. I was good at football, basketball. My older brother taught me, how to play sports at a young age. I used to play with older dudes growing up. And so I knew uh, I wanted to play sports, but I knew I wouldn't be able to play football because of church. You just can't do it on Friday nights. So that kind of drove me to the gangs. That kind of drove me to, because I was getting whippings for everything, man. Because
Yeah.
I started getting high in high school. I mean, in junior high, and there was no bullying for me. You back in them days, you had to be good with these.
Yeah.
It wasn't picking up a knife or picking up a gun. I mean, you're gonna do that, but to get your reputation, you had to throw them guns. I'm talking about these for the shoulders.
Right.
So, I was pretty decent in that. I don't think I had an ass with, but uh, so just being real strict at home. Just had to follow rules and not being able to be me.
Right.
Go up and explore the world. Like everybody else that grows up. And having the support of your mom and dad.
Right.
Because it's important that that you get that support. But I don't blame them for anything, because that's the way they grew up back in Samoa. So you got to take the good with the bad, and that's just how it was. That's what made me turn to the gangs because, like you said, there was a little bit of unity there, and once you get that reputation, like you that guy, they look up to you.
Right.
That's your family. I can always go to them and we'll chill and do what we do.
Right. Right.
Plus, I
And
love that swag, that gang banging swag, dressing up, creased up,
yeah.
wearing the hats. I mean, I started wearing brims in the early age, Stacy's, and that was my thing.
That's right. So, after you started getting into this gang life and everything, did you ever experience any incarceration, like maybe county jails or prison or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started going to LA County, and I think about in my 20s, my early 20s, I started going into LA County. I was selling weed, PCP, crystal, cocaine, whatever I could get my hands on, I was pretty much hustling. But at the same time, I was using,
Hmm.
you know, and I can remember my first time I went to the county. That's when I first seen some racist stuff, separation, the blacks, the whites, the Mexicans, because I ain't never grew up on that. I was always used to, messing with everybody. And but in there, man, as soon as I got in there, it was like a whole nother story.
So, you go in there. So what's that first day like? I mean, you're involved with the gang. So you go to a particular gang unit or something like that in the county jail?
Well, no, no. The first time I went in there, uh I forget what my case was. I got busted selling or something, and
Mm.
I went in there, and I remember being in this cell where there was a few Meulis, few Mexicans, and we was going to get on this phone, and it was pretty crowded. It was a bunch of Meulis, Mexicans, whites, whatever. So I'm not knowing the rules or nothing. I'm just like kicking back. I'll wait till everybody goes to the use the phone, and you know, because this is my first time. So all of a sudden I hear one of the Mexicans say, "Hey, Holmes," and he's saying it a couple of times, and he's saying it towards my way. I happen to look up, and I said, "What's up?" He goes, "You want to use a phone?" And I get, they thought I was Mexican when they first seen me. So I'm like, "Yeah, okay." But as we went up from that fish roll, we went up to the dorms. I noticed it was a whole, it was a whole different ball game. So I had to stay with what I knew. All I knew was Mexicans. That was my flavor at that time. That's what I was doing. So I rode with them. So I got in, and they asked me where I was from and hit me up and do all that. And the thing about it though, I had some size on me.
Mm.
So and when you were in prison or jail, wherever you at, they need that.
Yeah.
you know, Quiet as kept. They gonna need somebody that can, push whatever issues we got going on, and so that kind of helped. But deep down, there was a little fear there because you don't know what's going on. There's a little bit of fear. I wasn't going to admit it back in the days, but when I go through all the things I went through in prison, to all these self-help programs, you kind of recognize the feelings. Back in the days, you didn't recognize those feelings. There was maybe a little fear, but you didn't want to admit it. But
Right.
when you first go into LA County Jail, there's going to be a little fear. I ain't ashamed to admit it,
Right.
but you got to hold tight to that, that mask, so.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. A lot of people don't want to admit that, when they go into jail or prison, that they either had some type of fear or they even shedded a tear or two, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's just the reality of jail, prisons and things like that. So, that was your first time in. Did you go into county multiple times or something? I mean,
Yeah, I just started messing up.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was always, I came out, first I was only doing a couple of days here and there. Then I had to go to court. Well, everything started adding up. All the days I was missing from courts from different cases. I kept getting a lot of possession for sales, just all kind of stuff. And
mm,
all that stuff was adding up. And so by the time they caught up to me, my first little good issue I did was 6 months in the county. From all the stuff that I had, my cases, and turning them into warrants and not taking care of my business. And
right.
so it ended up being 6 months.
What was it that just kept bringing you back to jail? I mean, were you going back to the streets and getting back involved with, you said drugs, were you getting back involved with drugs when you got out?
Yeah. Not accepting my responsibility
Yeah,
as a man, as a husband, as a father.
right,
Always trying to be slick, and always trying to take shortcuts, and never trying to hold on to a job.
right.
Because I was married when I turned them like I think it was about 19 or 20. I had got married. And my first year, I think I was good. I worked, and I was trying to do the right thing. But once you hit a wall, the money ain't right. You want to go back to your old ways because that's all you know.
Yeah,
So I started going to, I started selling again, but I was going to Wilmington to the projects, and I was selling PCP out there.
mm,
And there's always something going on over there. But yeah, that's the thing that was getting me in trouble because uh, I didn't have the skills,
right,
to deal with all this, because my dad, he was a good father, but at the same time, he didn't sit me down and say, you know, boy, this is how you take care of business. He was a good man. He went to work every day. He was a Christian man, took care of the family, but we just didn't have that communication where he could
Mm,
sit me down and, you know, uh, uh, and just run it down to me, you know.
right.
And so I kept hitting that wall, you know. I kept, and it's crazy because when you have kids, you think, okay, now you know, I need to get my stuff together. But you know, after you into this lifestyle for so long, you know, it's just, you know, you don't, and things ain't going your way, you just stuck on dumb, stuck on stupid, whatever you want to call it, you stuck, and you're
And
gonna keep going back to that same old bullshit.
right, right. And it's crazy, man, that we think that way, and I just think it's like you said, man, it's a lack of communication from those who were here before us, our fathers, our uncles, things like that, just the elders, period. I wish my parents would have talked to me more because I didn't know shit, and
Yeah,
so that's what happens. We go out in the streets and we're trying to figure out how to be a man,
yeah.
and without the proper tools, of course. So let us know about your prison experience, because I know that's why we have you on this channel. This is a prison channel. What happened? What led up to you catching your case and going to prison?
Well, I caught a 15 to life sentence, second degree murder. Uh, had a something going on in LA where the police was getting at me. We had a big old high speed chase, and I ended up killing somebody. And uh, I ended up going to prison. They gave me that 15 to life, and went to Folsom, old Folsom, and I remember seeing Tuffy and those was over there. But at that time, I was in a whole nother place,
Mhm.
because I grew up with Mexicans. All I knew was Mexicans, and so I loved my people, but I had to go with what I knew. And so I ended up chilling with the essays for a while. And it was an experience. You got to go in there. You can't go in there and act like you're about something, because you ain't about nothing. You got
Right.
to go in there and earn your stripes. You got to go in there, be quiet, follow what needs to be done, and just try to stay quiet, and do your time. There was nobody in there when I first went into prison, like the big homies or any of the dudes that's been down for a while, that said, hey, Pineapple, come here.
Mhm.
If you go to this program, you go to this program, and and do a good program, walk straight, do what you're supposed to do, you might be able to get out. Nobody ran that out to me. They just, when you get there, this is where we're at. This is how we carry ourselves. This is what we do, and you do it.
Right.
But the best way for me was just keeping my mouth shut, just scoping everything out, find out who's who, because you got to know who's who. You got to know the big boys and the little boys.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so long as you know that and you know how to move around and keep your nose clean, you'll be all right.
Yep. Mouth shut, eyes open. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah, you get less problems that way.
For sure.
Yep. Yep.
You don't want to go in there acting like you about something, because you can't run in the house and go get your fanga.
Yep.
You got to go in your cell and get your pedal,
Yep. You're gonna
get
get
you something
tested.
to deal with. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Man, I want to know, what was that feeling inside of you, man? When you would see Usos on the yard or whatnot, and you was doing your thing, did you feel some kind of sense of, like them my brothers right there, and I kind of want to, mingle with them, because when you're involved with gangs and stuff, you can't really mingle because you just never know what's being spoken and things like that. You're always going to get questioned, what were you talking about with old boy or whatnot. So was that rough with you, seeing our peoples on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, there was some, what's that, uh, uh, compassion there for my folks. You know, uh, uh, um, But you know, when you're involved in it, like for me, when I'm involved in something, I'm giving it 100%. So even though I love you as my brother, you know, I can't look at you and with some type of what's the word I'm looking for? With you, you just got to understand where you stand. You
Right,
know,
right.
this
I
is you know, this is how we do things. And as much as love as I have for you, if I can avoid you when something happens, that's you know, that's what I'm gonna do. You know, but if it comes up to it, we have to do what we have to do. That's just
right.
the reality of what we do. You know,
Yeah.
even though I got love, you know, I'm always gonna have love for you because I love you, man. You mine. You know, you
Right.
my peoples. You know, but when we in this type of lifestyle, man, you know, you got to
Yep.
you know stay solid with what you're rolling with.
That's some real shit, Oos, because
Yeah.
it's nothing personal, man.
No.
it's just what needs to be done, at that time. And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand who haven't experienced prison. We don't really hate each other in there like y'all think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's how it is, and it's how it needs to be handled.
It
It's
is,
nothing
man.
personal.
I done got in it with dudes, you know, in the hole or something, and we'll be in the cage. He'll be in his cage, and I just got through whipping on him, and I'll be in my cage. But when we're in the cage, we're talking to each other, man. Like, hey, man, you know, you got me with a good one, man. You know, and uh, uh, you know, and he respects me, and I respect him. You know, because at the end of the day, we did what we had to do. You know, because you have to do what you have to do in order for you to survive and make yourself, you know, part of that whatever you're voting with.
Right.
You can't chicken out and, you know, don't get in the game if it gets too hot and then you want to take the easy way out.
Exactly. So, what years was this when you hit the penitentiary?
I got busted in 87, fought my case for a couple of years. In 89, I went in.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Them were the times back then too. It was pretty violent back then in the penitentiary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to, you know, you
Yeah.
got to learn right away, you know.
Yeah.
Ain't no school you can go
Mm-hmm.
to learn about this thing. They shoot you straight to old Folsom, you know,
Exactly.
level 4,
Yeah.
right in the mix.
And so you got 15 to life. You go into a level 4. Man, what is your thoughts, man, about the outside life now? I mean, are you not thinking about it anymore? Because when I hit San Quentin, one of those Usos, he pulled me aside, and I told him I had 30 to life. He basically told me, hey, Us, whatever's gonna happen on the streets out there with your family, anything out there, man, it's just you can't be out there. I need your head in here. You know what I'm saying? What happens out there is out there, and you need to have your head in here. And that was the reality to me. So with you, how did you feel, entering prison with a 15 to life sentence?
Oh man, it was a feeling of this was it.
Yeah.
You know, this is what's going to be my life. You know, mentally, I was already kind of strong. You know, I've always been a little, you know, mentally strong when I in the game. You know, but when it comes to just life, dealing with life on life terms, you know, that's where the weakness comes in. But in this in this game that we played growing up, this gang banging game, mentally I was already kind of sharp there. So when I got that 15 to life sentence, when the judge told me when I went to court that you got 15 to life, I dropped my head and I just remember and thinking to myself, this was it. I didn't think I was ever gonna come out. And you walk into old Folsom, you know, you hear all the stories all these years about old Folsom, how crazy it was, and then you see the dudes walking around, you know, you see the bars, you know, you hear the noise, you hear shots, you know, being fired, you know, everything. It all just like hits you, you know, and I just thought this was going to be it. I was going to die here.
Yeah, that's what prison does to you, man. It takes away your hope, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Man, that's crazy. And so off that 15 to life, how you know, obviously you're home now, man. Congratulations. But how much time did you do off of the 15 to life?
I did 30,
Mm,
30 years.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah, but I played with the game. You know, I could have probably got out a little bit earlier, you know, but I was in this damn game that don't mean a damn thing to nobody. Uh, uh, and I was stuck, you know. It didn't, after 15, I would say about 15, 20 years of my time, I finally woke up,
Wow.
you know. I finally woke up. Governor Brown was in, they started giving out dates, and I'm like, God damn, you know, if I don't hurry up and get on this horse right here, I'm gonna die in this sucker, man. So that was my wake up right there.
Man, that's deep, Oos. Man, 30 years is a long time. So they, when I met you, you know, for those of y'all don't know, I met Pineapple and Solano. So when I met Pine, I remember you, and you were on your way out because you had a whole different type of mentality from what you're speaking about, how you went through the system. Because I met you, you know, you were different. I could tell that you were a man that was heading home. You know, you were looking forward to going home. And I think you even talked to me about your board and things like that here and there. But yeah, I knew you were programming totally different, you know, and yeah, I respected that. And that's why I remember talking with you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that time, because you said you was over there about 2008, and that time I was making my change, you
Hmm.
know, because in 2007 was really the time I started changing. And so when I met you, I was already in the mix of changing. You know, I was trying to get this, you know, this thing right. And you know, it's funny because God works in mysterious ways. You know, God is always putting people in my life
Yes, sir.
that, you know, hey, you know, let's see what you can do with this person. You know, this is a good piece that I'm putting in your life. You better make this work.
Yeah.
And you know, it was my girl, you know, my wife now, you know, that he put in my life in 2007. She's from my neighborhood. She's a little younger than me, but yeah, we started talking, and you know, things started to happen. You know, and can I go into this right here?
Man, go into it, Oos.
Okay, okay. What happened was, you know, during my whole time in prison, you always got different females coming in, you know, in your life. You know, you do what you do with them. You know, really ain't caring too much about it. If you have a relationship for a year, two, three, whatever it is, and you're good, okay. You know, you might fall in love, you might not. But with this one, not only was she from my neighborhood, but she also knew my family. You know, and that's the that's worked that worked for her right there, especially knowing my family, because I'm over here trying to change my life around. And if I dog her, all she got to do is say something to my family. I'm like, damn, man, I'm here acting like I'm doing all good. And here she goes over there telling them, you know. So I worked on it. I worked on this relationship. You know, I kind of like gave everything up little by little, you know, learning, you know, everything that I needed to learn about myself to get this right. But it was because of her, you know. So, you know, finally, you know, I went through some ups and downs with her, bumps, you know, that I caused. And I finally woke up one time because, you know, when you're changing your life around, it's crazy because you're so stuck in this bullshit life that we lived in prison, and that mentality that comes with it, that, you know, all the fake bullshit that we do, acting like we about something. And then when you finally get something good, it's hard to get back into that life of doing nothing but good, you know? So it took me a minute, and
Take your time, Oos.
it's emotional for me because I remember that time. I remember that, you know, that I had hurt my wife, and because I was still stuck on. I changed my life, but I was still stuck on some, some dumb stuff. And I thought, maybe still talking to other women wasn't going to be no big deal because I was stuck on stupid, you know. But then when I seen her tears when I was talking to her in the visiting room because she had found out, man, it broke me down. It broke me down. It was like, this is somebody that loved and cared about that didn't need this. What the hell am I doing?
Mm.
I can't keep doing this bullshit. I had to change. And I did it. I thought to myself, I remember thinking when I was sitting in the visiting room, I'm like, you know what? The hell with all the talk, I got to show her. I had to put this into motion and then action. And it took me a while to earn that trust back, but I did it, I did it. And that was the turning point of my whole career of getting my life back together.
Man, man, it was that's some real shit, man. And you know what? It's always like that, family, loved ones, that put up with all our stuff, and we're the ones hurting them the most, and we would smash on anybody that would hurt our loved ones, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like you said, you see it in their eyes, man, and you realize at that moment, like, man, I'm the one that is just ruining all this shit, you
yeah,
know, and it's me that's got to change. It's no one else,
yeah. You
and
gotta, you gotta take responsibility, man. You gotta hold yourself accountable to everything that you do.
true
And
story.
I remember when I first went into prison, I said to myself, well, you know what? I'm a, I already done embarrassed my family. I brought shame to the family name. And, it was just a whole bunch of things on my shoulders. So I remember saying to myself that, you know what? I'm not going to stay in touch with my family too much. I'm going to do this time by myself. I'm not going to ask for nothing. I'm not going to, I'm going to call every once in a while, and I was hoping that, when they don't hear from me, it's out of sight, out of mind. Not understanding that this whole 30 years that I'm doing, they doing it with me.
Mm.
You know, it's painful for your parents, your mom and dad, to go through this and then, not being there for your kids. And what kind of emotions they going through. I abandoned them when they were young because I was so damn stuck on stupid. So there's a lot of things that, the consequences of our choices is deep, man. It's stuff that I'm still going through now, with my kids, because they 30 years is a long time,
Yeah.
and they grew up without me, so it's a lot of things that it ain't gonna be just fixed as soon as you come home, and all I can do is just ask God for strength and guidance
Yep.
and wisdom, to take care of these things that I still have, that are lingering.
Mm. Uh, so if you don't mind me asking you, when did you get out, Oos?
I got out in 2017 in June. Yeah,
Wow,
man,
man.
I remember walking out the damn pen, man. I got teary, man. I ain't lying. I was like, you know how you transfer from one prison to another, and you always take that walk. Okay, I wonder, if I'll see, Solano again, But this time when I walked out of CMC, I was like, damn, this is it. I remember tearing up because I always, when I always see the Usos or anybody go home, I'm like, man, what's that feeling like?
Mm.
What does it feel like to go home, man? And man, when I got that feeling, I remember, man, it was like a walk of it wasn't no walk of shame. It was like a walk of, man, it's finally over for me, you know. Yeah, it was a hell of a feeling, man. And then getting out, I was sitting in R&R for about 30 minutes, uh, got dressed, went out to the parking lot, and man, the wife was waiting, it was just like, it was like magic, man. I just couldn't believe I was on the other side of that damn wall that I used to look out the window and see the parking lot. And I'm in this parking lot today.
After 30
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
man. Same
Yeah.
sky, different side, though, man. It's just a whole different feeling,
Oh man, the
man.
air feels better. You know, when you're breathing it, you know, it's funny because when you're in the pen, I know this happened to you a lot. You breathe in the air and you're like, man, something about this air don't smell right, man.
It's not the same.
You know, I want that freedom air.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
it
the
was all,
same,
yeah.
man. Well, let me take you back a little bit. So what happened? You had to go to board, and then the governor gave you a date.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it took me a minute to get my date because before I changed my life, uh, I kept going to the board. You go to the board like every 3 years, 4 years. It depends on how many years they deny you when you go in there. So my first 15 years, I didn't care about no damn board. I used to go in there, sit, listen to what they got to say, and I've done groups my whole time I've been in prison, but never really paid attention to it. Just go over there to get that piece of paper, show the board I did something.
Hmm.
And then when the board asks you, "Oh, okay, so what did you learn on this, anger management class you took?" And you just making shit up. They gonna look at you, okay, Mr. Taulua, I'll see you in a few years. So that's how I was going, my first 15, maybe close to 20 years. That's how, me and the board was looking at each other. But I remember when I got my life back together, everything started going for me. I started going in the board with a whole new attitude, and just because you change, it don't mean the board's gonna look at you like, you come in there and spill, your spill, and they're gonna say, okay, Mr. Saulu, you've been doing really good. You can go home now. No, you got to continue to do it and show them. And you got to speak about all these things, that's changed in your life and why it's changed, and all these groups that you go to, what does this group do to help you, and understanding all that. So I got turned after I turned myself, my life around. I got turned down a few more times, but every time there was hope for me now. And I didn't go, I didn't put my, I didn't like feel all bad or down because I knew my time was coming. I
Mm.
just got to stay on target. I had to stay focused, and it happened, man. It happened. So yeah, that was a blessing, man. Learning about yourself and understanding the damage that you do, not only to your family but to your victims and the community and all that, man. It's just like, it was a wake-up call. So it was a good, I'll say my last 10 years was a hell of a good experience for me because it really did turn my life around.
It's good shit, Ose. So you get out, okay, you happy and everything. So let me ask you, I always ask everyone, what did you do your first day out? Did you go get something to eat right away, or did you go straight home?
Now we went to that IHOP right next to the pen because I kept asking a bunch of people that, the free staff,
Yeah.
what's a good place to go out here and eat breakfast? And IHOP kept coming up. So I'm like, okay. So we went put some gas in the car, went straight to IHOP. And I remember, okay, we went in there and I'm feeling, I'm kind of jittery still and feeling kind of like, you know, and I remember, okay, let me go wash my hands real quick. So I go in the bathroom and I'm washing my hands and I'm looking around in the sink, and I don't see the on button, the off button. I'm like, something's going on here. So I'm stuck. I got soap in my hands and I'm stuck because the water ain't coming out. So I had to stand there and wait, right? Somebody came in, I played it off like I'm doing something, and they went over to wash their hands, and I seen them do something, wiggle on the faucet, and the water came out. I'm like, okay, damn, man. Okay, so I went over there and I did. I'm like, okay. I started laughing, man. I'm like, God dang, this is this some trippy stuff, man. And I'm like, damn, am I that lost? And so we came and ate. I'm enjoying the breakfast. breakfast. I'm having some over easy, some toast, ham, whatever, But yeah, we came home. It took us about 3.5, 4 hours drive to get back to out here. Went, did some shopping, went, did some more eating, just enjoying it, because I only
Man.
had 24 hours before I had to go to that damn transitional home in
Oh,
LA.
okay.
Yeah.
Man, I know that was a great feeling. It's funny what you were saying about the restaurant, because I went to In and Out, and same thing happened to me. I'm standing at the sink, don't know how to turn it on, nothing. I actually asked somebody to help me.
Yeah.
He looked at me kind of crazy when I asked him, how do you turn this sink on? And he just told me, put your hands under it, it comes out. So, it was one.
Shit, another funny thing that happened to me, we had when I was in that transitional place, we had went out and we was doing some stuff that they wanted us to go take care of. So we ended up going to 7-Eleven, and I went in there by myself and I wanted a Slurpee. So I go in there and I'm looking at the damn Slurpee machine. I'm like, I have no clue how to do this, right? So I step back and I'm playing off. I'm looking around, just acting like I'm, just looking. But nobody comes to this damn Slurpee machine. So I ended up going back out, getting in the van without my Slurpee, man.
That's hella.
They like, what you go in there and get? Oh, none. I was just looking around.
Just looking.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm happy, man. I'm glad you got home those, man. Like I said, when I met you, I could tell, you were different from everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's
Appreciate
cool.
that.
Man, that's cool. That's cool as fuck. Man. So what are you doing now? So, you're home. You've been home for a while now. What are you up to? You getting involved in anything? What are you doing for work? How's things
Well,
going?
things went kind of rough for me when I got out. I started working, when I was in that transitional spot, and what happened was I started working at a catering company. I loved it, man. We was doing wedding gigs and on the weekends. It was just beautiful, man. I really enjoyed that job. And not too long after that, I got hurt. We was unloading a truck, and I already had a bad hip from the accident I had in '87. So, but I had re-injured that hip, fractured my pelvis, and so it went kind of bad for me. So as I was in the hospital going through all this, they found I was going through a bunch of tests, and they found some cancer in my kidney. There was a spot there that they was tripping on, and then finally they said it was some cancer. But the doctor said, if we take out this piece, you'll be okay. But they had to take out my whole kidney. It wasn't worth just taking out that piece and then the cancer come back on the kidney. So the best thing for them to do was take out my kidney, my left side. So, ended up doing that. I've been cancer free for the last couple of years, and but I've been on the injured side. Haven't been able to really walk on my own. I walk with a crutch or a cane, and I haven't been in motion like I really wanted to since I've been out of prison. It was rough, but hey, I give all praise to God because I still have, I'm still home, I'm still alive, I'm still kicking. So plans, things change,
Right.
and but I'm grateful, man. I'm healthy. It just gave me the opportunity to do what I do at home. Uh, uh, Shit, I ain't got no shame in my game. I cook, I clean, I bake.
Yep.
I do all that stuff, man. I bake cakes, cupcakes, for my granddaughter.
Yeah.
So I do all that. I'm still moving. Enjoying my family. I'm involved in some of the lifer groups, mentorship support groups. Once a month we meet on Zoom. Right now I'm doing a project theater group. We're doing some filming this weekend, so everything is cool, man. I just enjoying life, man. And now that I just got off of parole like maybe a couple of weeks now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so I'm gonna go get my license. I'm gonna go get my license and see if I can do some driving, some type of job driving, maybe a Uber driver, whatever I can do to help out. I still getting paid though from this thing that I went through, so that helps out, that's a big uh stress off my shoulders, not being able to pitch in and help my wife do what we have to do to survive. So everything is good, man. I'm blessed, and I'm loving what y'all do and you do. And, that's why I wanted to get on this, man. I wanted to share my story and just help out a couple of, if them youngsters out there, believe in that glamorous life, that the prison life is going to help you, be who you want to be, Mr. Gotti, you're going the wrong way, little brother. Believe these stories that we telling you, that you're listening to on this channel, because you're going to have a whole bunch of lonely nights crying like a little baby, crying for your mommy when you get sick, or, for your wife to send you some money, or, when things ain't going right. Because if you ain't got to hustle up in there, you in trouble, boy.
Yep.
So if you're listening, do the right thing, man. Learn from Big Pineapple. Big Ron right here,
That's right, Oos. Man, I appreciate you coming on here, Oos, man. Man, it's good you're home. Glad you're home with your family. I just want to say real quick, man, it's crazy how things work. And that's why I know God is all the way around us, because, if you didn't get injured, maybe you wouldn't have found that piece of cancer up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, God just works in certain ways, man. He might take something from us because it was meant to be, though, So that's just how it is, man.
Yeah, that's how it is. You hit it on the button, man. That's why I can't be mad. I mean, it's always gonna be. See. These days, I've learned how to deal with these situations. You can fall, keep getting up. You fall, keep getting up. Back in the days, you fall, you stay on the damn ground because you don't know how to fix yourself to get up. And then when you stay on that ground, you're always gonna be doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But these days, there's always going to be obstacles in life. You just got to know how to push through it. Be sharp up here. Don't let these little things bother you. There's a bigger picture, and not only doing stuff for yourself, do it for your family, bro. Do it for your wife. Do it for your little one growing up, So, hey.
Appreciate it, man. That's real shit. Right on, Oos. Thank you for coming on here, Pine.
For sure.
Y'all know what it is, man. Stay the fuck out of trouble.
Hello. Love you, Oos.
Love you too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you coming on.